welcome back. We're here with Nick DeCastro,
Hi, y'all.
and we're discussing the future of the Jacksonville film community. We're talking about the short film. We have another short film showcase coming up this Thursday at Sunrise Cinema.
Oh, okay.
So that's always a good place to look for new actors and things like that. You've been to a few of these, haven't you?
I've been to the 48-hour film festival. I have to shamefully admit that I'm a little bit of a homebody. I know there was one in St. Augustine happening this weekend, but I had previous commitments that didn't take me there. And I do know that it is perfect forum to pick up new talent and I'll be more diligent and go to these things.
Right.
Bat Nick. so, you know.
My understanding is looking like these things get a pretty good turnout, especially the ones at Sunray now.
Yeah, we had one before Christmas. There was a very good turnout, all about independent filmmakers, and it was a lot of fun. There was a good comedy. What was it that Captain Lobster?
Oh, Adventures of Commander Crayfish and Lobster.
That was hilarious.
Yes.
That was very funny.
So you're referring to No Budget, the movie, which
No
had
budget. Yeah.
Short films from 10 or 11 different directors.
Right. It's a collage of different people's work, and that was a blast. That was a blast. Especially there was an inset being done for commercials that were doing parodies, but there were commercials being plugged in, and that was just, my side was hard. That was funny.
I think my favorite one was what was that cop show one where at one point the police officer gets into a fight with the woman holding the boom mic.
Yeah, yeah. And then there was the parody for the martial artist. Is that the one you're talking about?
Might have been.
Yeah, because there's a young man who does Wing Chun fighting, and he's very good. And at one point, in the scene, the melee, he's fighting several people. He's actually going back and forth with the boom mic and just whacks it with him. And that was just funny as heck. It reminds me of that movie Kentucky Fried Chicken, where they did a parody of
Kentucky Fried movie.
Yeah, Kentucky Fried movie. Sorry.
With the Bruce Lee parody.
Right, Bruce Lee parody. Right, that had Master Boso Han in there. It was a very good movie.
That's a lot of digs on Detroit there too.
Yeah. There was.
That's going back to the 70s. So.
Yeah. We're dating ourselves.
So beyond that, where else do you want to see the Jacksonville film industry?
I think I want to see a higher exposure of our work even at the night of the Oscars. I'm very ambitious and perhaps a little petulant and arrogant. But because I have so much faith in our native talent, I think that we could produce something as good as anything and show it at cons. And, and just show them. Because Jacksonville has so much natural beauty. And the logistics of filming is so easy. It's not like when I used to work in Chicago, trying to close, when we were doing my best friend's wedding, they were closing one of the streets around Union Station. That was a nightmare. I mean, nightmare. And then when we were doing Fast and the Furious 5 in Puerto Rico, that was also a nightmare. And they were getting hate mails, and every time in the news, people are, they're closing, making traffic a mess. But Jacksonville's so easy. We just reroute things. We use a lot of the shots that could be done in Laura Street, where you have the tram, and you could fake anything in that particular street. This is where we were doing the America's Most Wanted Top Gun, and it was the shooting sequence. You could swear you were in Chicago or Detroit or anywhere because of the architecture and the immediate environment. And of course, the people started gathering the looky-loos, but the PAs kept them at bay. And,
that happens.
That happens. It's part of the charm, I guess.
Yeah. So. But you're right. Downtown's a pretty easy place to shoot.
It's very, very easy.
Especially at night. It's dead at night, so that's.
Yeah. Absolutely. And those bridges, we got these remarkable bridges. I mean, who's to say we don't take business away from San Francisco? Hey, San Francisco City Bridge. We got tons of bridges here. We'll sell you a bridge.
I think we got 7.
Yes, they're all amazing. All of them amazing. About the only bad part is that exit to Prudential Plaza, because they're always building there and constructing. But once you're in the downtown area, you're in a huge playground.
Right.
Huge playground.
Right. Now, what about how easy is it to film as far as working with city council and trying to get permits and things like that? Or do most filmmakers just avoid that?
I think most avoid that, but I think if you have any issues, I think you could actually approach Todd Rubin,
Hmm.
and he tends to facilitate a lot of these things. One of the problems we were doing a commercial, and I was just doing extra work, which I don't do anymore. That was several years ago. We had a guy who was supposed to jump in a parachute and just land in the middle of Bay Street and say, "Rebel!" and run into a van, and the van would drive away. Well, the city didn't give him any permission to dive off with his parachute. And he was, it would have been so easy, but we had to do the same take about 10 times or more. So how many times was he going to dive off a building, really? And he was a young kid, and, you know, the crosswinds in that road is not good for that. And lo and behold, at one point, he had the canopy of the parachute set up on a rig, and we had a rope pulling him, so he would inflate the canopy with air, and then pretend like a kite that he was coming down and grab the parachute and go, "Rebel!" And as he was doing that, the wind just slammed him on the side of a building. So the city had a reason.
Yeah. I gotcha.
I mean, he was just 20, but how many times can you slam a 20-year-old on the side of a building?
Yeah, they're pretty durable.
They're durable.
Yeah.
It was a comedy of errors. That was funny as heck. And at one point, the kid is going into the van, right? He's trying to collect the canopy, and a gust of wind just opens up the canopy, and he's dragged down Bay Street. Like he's, surfing. And the next thing, he wraps the parachute. We had a gorgeous African-American actress doing the interview. What is it? Rebel. It was for the Canada. It's a phone company. Oh. He grabs the parachute and runs to the band and just slides in there like Starsky and Hutch, old, fishtailing everything. And of course, as he's jumping in, his head hits the board of the door. Goes whammo! It climbs in. And we were just laughing because it was anything that could go wrong with that kid went wrong. At the end, we got the shot, but it was funny as heck. So I could tell you more about it, but limited time, but it was funny.
Right. Yeah. I imagine, you've worked downtown before, right?
Yes.
And have you ever had any kind of encounters with the citizens of downtown?
Yeah, we do have, shelters. Mm-hmm. And I actually help every once in a while with their soup kitchen, time providing. But I haven't seen anything other than somebody breaking up in the window of one of my cars once many, many years ago. You don't see them as being an issue. Right. I haven't seen them interjecting.
Not a lot of crime that goes with that.
No, not a lot of crime. There are parts like in everywhere in the world. If you gravitate to the wrong place and at the wrong time, Yeah. But no, none of that. Even the park in that area at Laura Street was very pretty. I haven't seen them being uncooperative or anything like that. So I have no complaints. Mm-hmm.
So switching gears.
Sure.
Political climate in Jacksonville. What is your take on that?
I stay away from politics like the plague.
Okay.
I'm more of a moderate.
But we're talking about local politics. Local politics very different than national politics.
I had an interaction with Elvin Brown where we were doing Hispanic Art Walk, and he seemed very amicable. Mm-hmm. I mean, I didn't have a chance because we had entertaining, 500 up to 1,000 people.
Right.
I was with Gina Francica, and we were doing our, "Hey, welcome to Hispanic Art Walk, da 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 da." And he seemed very amicable, very sociable, very easy to talk to. But I didn't have enough time to say, "Hey, let's talk about filmmaking." Mm-hmm. I think that perhaps one of the things that are detrimental to the city in general is that we have to have our investors and our politicians develop trust in a very lucrative industry, which is filmmaking and
Right.
television making. And it's extremely lucrative. It doesn't take much to get a hit, it just takes talent. And a lot of people don't come to the realization of how lucrative it can be. So maybe you can spur their greed to say, hey, we got these wonderful stories we want to do. And if we need to spur interest that way, then perhaps that's what we need to do. We need the people to get involved because filmmaking almost started in Florida, particularly in the city of Jacksonville.
Right.
So we've turned our back to it, and that's not good because, as I mentioned before, this is a very lucrative industry, a very creative industry. And a lot of good can be done. And as a matter of fact, one of the mission statements of the show we're going to produce, which is titled I Still Don't Get It, is to provide knowledge and entertainment, and both the scientific, sorry, and the philosophical.
Mm-hmm.
So each experience of the show will bring a venue to educate and entertain. So.
All right, that's all we've got for today. Our guest today has been Nick DeCastro, actor, writer, and IT guru.
Thank you.
Anything you want to say before we go?
No, I just want to say to all my colleagues out there, break a leg, and let's keep shooting for the stars.
All right, and if you're watching this before the 29th of January, there is a short film festival going on at Sunray Theater. Doors open at 6:30. You want to be there early to get tickets because these things do sell out. So a lot of good short films showcased, including one of my own.
Very good.
All right. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye-bye.